Hi, I'm Pastor David with Declaration Church. And as I was reading in the Psalms, I came across a verse that really spoke to me where I've been in the past and where I know that I think every person at some point gets, where all of us at some point in our lives end up in a spot just like this. And it really was encouraging to me, and I hope it's encouraging to you. But I know that patience is not necessarily one of those things in our society today, here in the United States, that's really valued. We say it is, it's a spoken value, but it's not one of those things that we actually value. If you look at the way that we live our lives, we're really a society of instant gratification. We want what we want and we want it now, and we're not really willing to wait. We don't want to wait for what we want. We want to have it now. Fast food is huge. Even sit down restaurants really, I think, feel the pressure to get the food out quickly because people don't want to wait. There's financing for big ticket items so that if you don't have the cash, you can get it today and pay on it over time. Cars are that way. We're really used to financing and having loans because we're impatient. We're not a patient people. And one of the times when I know I've been the least patient is when things in my life are just really difficult, when it feels almost like the world is collapsing around me. And when I read through Psalm 6, the sixth Psalm, I came across this verse and it just really spoke to me because of the way that it reads to me. And it says in Psalm 6, verse 3, it's attributed to David. The psalm is attributed to David. And it says, "My soul also is greatly troubled." Maybe you've been in that kind of a situation where you can say, my soul is troubled. I'm really struggling here. I am just, and I'm anxious. I'm, I'm tense. I'm stressed. I don't feel comfortable. Hope is dwindling and everything just seems to be falling in around you. And I feel like this is one of those times with David. And he says, "My soul also is greatly troubled, but you, O Lord, or you, O Yahweh." And then right mid-thought, he says, "How long? You, O Lord, how long?" It's one of those points where, so many times in the Psalms, David says, "I'm struggling. My soul is troubled. I'm having a difficult time. But you, O Lord, are faithful. You are good. You are true." And he goes right into that. And it feels like one of those times where he's about to do that, but right in mid-thought, he says, "But you, O Lord." And he goes, "How long?" Because it feels like the struggle has gone on forever and there isn't an end in sight. So maybe that's where you're at this morning. Maybe you are having a really difficult time. You're really struggling with that. And in those times, it's important to know, first of all, that you can be completely honest with God. You don't have to just go through the motions and put on a happy face. It's okay to be honest with God and to let Him know that you're struggling, let Him know that your soul is greatly troubled, and to even knowing that God is faithful and good and true and righteous and that He is the foundation of your life and the lifter of your head. He's all those wonderful things that in the middle of the struggle and the trial and the hardships sometimes of life, that sometimes those are the things that capture our attention, and it's difficult to trust and rest in the truth of who God is. And it's okay to be there and to be honest like that with God and to wonder, how long is this going to go on, God? How long am I going to have to deal with this? It's okay to ask those kinds of questions. God is all right with that. But as David continues through the psalm, you see his hope rising up within him, and he begins to move back into that place of trust and rest in God. In verse 4, he says, "Turn, O Lord, turn, O Yahweh, deliver my life, save me for the sake of your steadfast love. For in death there is no remembrance of you. In Sheol or in the grave, who will give you praise? I am weary with my moaning. Every night I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with my weeping. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you understand that. You experience that. My eye wastes away because of grief. It grows weak because of all my foes. David is being completely honest with God here. And he says, depart from me, all you workers of evil, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. He knows God's there in the middle of it all, that God hasn't missed a single tear. He's right there and says, the Lord has heard my plea. The Lord accepts my prayer. And I want to encourage you with that very same thing today. That if you're in that place where you're wondering how much longer this is going to go on, and you have been drenching your couch with tears, and you have been crying and weeping under the anguish and anxiety and stress that is vetching your soul, God is right there, and he has heard your plea, and he has accepted your prayer, and he will uplift you in the proper time. So stay hanging in there. Hold on to Jesus with all your might and look for that glimmer of hope, even in the midst of what seems to be the darkest, deepest time of your life, because God is still there. And I hope that's an encouragement to you today. I hope that's something that can help you move forward, knowing that you're not the only one that's ever experienced this kind of thing in your life, and that God has been faithful through that with his people in the past, and he will be faithful with you going forward into the future. I hope this is encouraging to you. If it was, if you've enjoyed this video, if it's been a blessing to you, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification button so that you're notified whenever we post new content. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be blessed and continue to follow Jesus in everything that you do. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.